Welcome to this meeting of Assembly Committee on Education for the 2023 legislative session. Secretary, will you please call the roll?
Assemblywoman Anderson, Assemblyman De Silva, Assemblywoman Hanson, Assemblywoman Hardy, Assemblyman Koenig, Assemblywoman LaRue Hatch, Assemblyman MacArthur, Assemblywoman Mosca, Assemblywoman Taylor, Assemblywoman Thomas, Assemblywoman Torres, Chair Bill Bray Axelrod.
I am here, and please mark Assemblywoman Hanson. Here she's walking in right now. Okay, well, welcome to everyone. If there's anyone in Las Vegas and those of you who are watching us online on our YouTube channel. Just a reminder, silence all your devices. Anything that makes noise, please make sure that it is in silent mode. We have work sessions today as well as a bill, and since our senator is here, we're going to go ahead and start with our bill hearing. So with that, I will open the bill hearing on Senate Bill 71. Please begin when you're ready, Senator.
Good afternoon, Assembly Education. I'm Senator Neal here to present SB 71, which is an interim education committee bill that we passed out of the Senate. Basically, SB 71 creates the Nevada State Education Support Professional and Recruitment and Retention Task Force. Purposes are to evaluate and address the challenges throughout the state in attracting and retaining education support professionals. It also adds in paraprofessionals, school police, school resource and other providers of security services at the school, school nurses, school counselors, school psychologists, school social workers, bus drivers, secretaries, custodial or maintenance staff, and food service workers. It bill sets forth membership powers and duties, and then they're going to meet quarterly. The amendment that happened on the other side was basically adding 10 ESP representatives, 10 teacher representatives, which would be added by the interim education committee, and ultimately that's the bill.
Thank you for that. Do we have any questions? I was going to say, Assemblywoman Anderson, I mean, this is right. I know, she's going to be so excited that you added all those folks, so thank you. Assemblywoman Torres.
Thank you, Senator, and thank you for the piece of legislation. And I definitely think it's important that they're part of the conversation about what we can do to retain them. We know we don't have enough professionals on our campuses, whether they be educators or education support professionals. My question, though, is whether or not there are concerns, though, that having, like, whether or not they should be separate committees or why we have them added to this current task force.
So, Senator Neal, for the record, so in Senate Ed, the committee is not a fan of task force, number one. So there was no interest in having two. There was interest in expanding one.
Thank you. And is there the ability for them to do subcommittees within this task force so that they could separate? Because I can just imagine that there would be instances where there might be conversations that make more sense for one group of people and not others.
So, Senator Neal, for the record, I don't think subcommittees are prohibited in any of the language, and that would be up to the chair who they elect for that committee.
Thank you. Assemblywoman LaRue Hatch.
Thank you, Chair. And I think I have two questions, if that is allowed. I do agree with my colleague that I think subcommittees make sense because I think while there are some times that those job families overlap, there are other times where there's special needs. But as you said, that's not disallowed. So my first question is just how has this been advertised and how will this be advertised? Because as a current teacher, prior to running for office, I didn't really know that much about this, and I don't know that many teachers know about it, and so I just wondered that process.
So, Senator Neal, for the record, so it's my understanding that this particular task force was established in 2019. I have no idea what the advertisement was associated with this. your chair sat on the interim education committee that brought this recommendation forward. So maybe that's something the committee can address. I don't know the answer to that.
Okay, I guess we'll follow up on that. Okay. Then my other question is, I see that the goal of this is to report to the interim education committee. I just wanted to ask, is the goal for them to have a BDR? Is the goal for them to just let us know? Because I think I've raised before in this committee that oftentimes teachers and education support professionals are asked what they need, and then they're ignored, and then they feel worse for having been asked and then ignored. And so I just wondered the intention on that.
So, Senator Neal, for the record, so the plan is after this committee meets and they talk about what are the challenges, right, to recruitment and retention, the interim education committee, I don't know how many BDRs you guys have. I don't know if you have 10. Yeah. That it could be set up as an agenda item for the interim committee to have this task force come and present issues, interim education committee to make a decision on whether or not there were issues that they felt should turn into BDRs, whether or not it's 2 BDRs or 3 BDRs. But ultimately, what happens during the interim education process, you have a series of meetings that are set through staff. You either have a monthly meeting, quarterly meeting, whatever you're going to do over the 2 years. And there are issues that are agendized by your chair, who then say, these are the 8 items that we're going to discuss over the interim. And if they select to have this interim advisory task force come and then maybe in year 2 say what has been the result of you meeting over a year, to then come and sit and then lay out their report to the interim committee, and then the chair could decide, I see issues that we would bring forward as a BDR. And so if you end up as an assembly member sitting on that interim committee, you would have at least a chance to propose to your chair those options.
Thank you. And the intent from the interim committee was that we really thought that it should be folks who are in the schools every day, right? We legislate from here, but we really wanted, and obviously this committee is very special that we have so many teachers who are in the classroom, but I appreciate that you added, we added some extra folks. And then as far as the meetings go, I was just looking back to see what I wrote, by Zoom, by, teleconference if necessary, but yeah, so with the quorum should be met pretty easily. Next, we'll go to Vice Chair Taylor.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, Senator, for coming to present this bill, and thank you for really adding the ESPs, the educational support professionals. We know how much we need them in our schools. Just a more of a clarification question. As we look in Section 7.4, looks like sub 1C, it says, to the extent practicable, the interim standing committee shall appoint 10 licensed teachers and 10 ESPs. Is that inclusive of what we see in A, B, and C? Do you envision that at all, or is that a 10 total?
Tell me the section again, 7.4.
Yes, 7.4.
We can have council weigh in on that if you'd like.
I just didn't see where she was. It was on the.
Yeah, it's on 7.4 sub, section 1, sub C.
Oh, the 3 licensed or education support personnel.
Yeah, it's sub, and then to the little part that's added at the bottom, to the extent practicable. Yeah, 10 of each, and I was just wondering if that's inclusive of the 3, the 2, and the 1.
It is.
Okay, just numbers wise. Okay, thank you, Senator. Thank you, Chair.
Next, we have a comment from Assemblywoman Anderson.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you for bringing this forward. Mine's a comment, it's not a question. But I think that as an educator, and I think that everybody on this committee that are educators as well, we realize that we cannot be in the classroom without our bus drivers delivering our kids, and without our secretaries, and without our incredible school counselors helping with so many other areas. So I really appreciate, in particular, the addition under Section 3 of the number 7 of the drivers of school buses, because I know in numerous schools in the county where I come from, as well as in the county that, Clark County, we've literally had people who have not been able to attend school because we do not have enough school bus drivers. So I really appreciate that. And then I also really appreciate section 7.8.2, where there are recommendations being made to the Joint Interim Standing Committee on Education to not only address the challenges in attracting and retaining, but also providing incentives. So I really appreciate the language that is utilized, that was created, I know, from the interim, but then also your presentation today. So thank you very much for pointing out that it's not just the teachers that are being hurt and we don't have enough of, but it's all those other essential individuals who help our schools run.
Any other questions, members? Okay, seeing none, I will invite folks who would like to come in support. Bill 71. Please go ahead when you're ready.
Good afternoon. Alexander Marks with the Nevada State Education Association, speaking in support of Senate Bill 71, creating the Nevada Teacher and Education Support Professional Recruitment Retention Advisory Task Force to address the record vacancies in personnel for the folks who make our schools run. So we definitely appreciate the inclusion of our education support professionals to this bill. There's been a lot of discussion this session on our teacher vacancies, and we're glad to see that the ESP vacancies is also being discussed as well. Students have a range of needs that must be met for learning to take place, and ESPs are the backbone of our public education system. Over the past 2 years, our school districts have tried to weather an unprecedented shortage of our ESPs. Even today, we have 504 vacant positions in Clark County and another 210 just here in Washoe, or not here in Washoe, nearby in Washoe, there we go. NSCA raised this issue in the interim committee, so we're glad to see that it's making its way through this process because it addresses a very real issue of recruitment and retention of ESPs. So we hope this task force bill continues on in the process, as we believe it's an important step to make sure that there are specific needs being met for our ESPs and that the voices of both classified and other licensed professionals and ESPs are included in this work. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the committee. For the record, my name's Mary Brzezinski, here representing Nevada Association of School Superintendents. And the predecessor to this bill, the Nevada State Teacher Recruitment and Retention Advisory Task Force that was set up a couple of sessions ago, I want to say, was excellent. And you could tune in, you could listen to it, which I did several times, and the many things that they brought out that we don't think about when we're not in that school every day were mentioned, discussed, and some good suggestions came out. It was a worthwhile task force, and so I think this will be worthwhile as well, and NASA's in support. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone in Las Vegas? Maybe behind the column. Not seeing anyone. BPS, is there anyone on the phone line wishing to offer support testimony on SB 71?
Chair, there are no callers choosing to testify at this time.
Thank you. With that, we will close support and move to opposition. Anyone here in Carson City in opposition of SB 71? Not seeing anyone. Anyone in Las Vegas? Not seeing anyone. BPS, is there anyone on the phone lines in opposition to SB 71?
Chair, there are no callers choosing to testify at this time.
Thank you. And with that, we'll close opposition and move to neutral. Anyone here to make neutral testimony on SB 71 or in Las Vegas? Anyone on the phone lines?
Chair, there are no callers choosing to testify at this time.
Thank you. And Senator, would you like to make any closing comments? No, she is waving it off. Well, thank you very much for your presentation, and I will close the hearing on SB 71. Just going to take a quick 1-minute recess if everyone could just look this way. Okay, so we are back. We are going to go into work session. We will have 3 bills on work session. We are going to have SB 282, SB 291, and per the waive of the 24-hour rules from Speaker Yeager, we will work session SB 71. So first, we'll start with SB 282. Ms. Drozdoff.
Thank you, Chair. Alex Drozdoff, Committee Policy Analyst for the record. As nonpartisan legislative staff, I can neither support nor oppose any measure. The first bill on work session is Senate Bill 282, which revises provisions governing education. The committee heard this bill yesterday. Senate Bill 282 clarifies that the hiring of staff by a principal of a local school precinct must conform to the applicable collective bargaining agreement. The bill also makes the principal of a local school precinct a voting member rather than a non-voting member of the organizational team. Additionally, SB 282 removes the school organizational team procedure to submit objections to the plan of operation and instead establishes procedures requiring the plan to be approved by at least 75% of the organizational team members who are present at the time of the vote before submitting the plan to the school associate superintendent. Before a vote on a proposed plan of operation, the principal must make every effort to notify the organizational team members of the date, time, and location of the vote. Senate Bill 282 establishes qualifications for the principal position, revises the procedure for filing a principal vacancy, and authorizes the school organizational team to reject the superintendent's selection in certain circumstances. It also specifies that if the year-end balance carried forward by a school precinct exceeds 5% of the actual expenditures in the immediately preceding school year, that amount must be used on certain programs. If such funds are not spent within 2 years, they must be deposited into the Education Stabilization Account. No amendments were proposed for this measure. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Members, are there any questions? With that, I will entertain a motion to do pass. Assemblyman De Silva has made the motion. Do I have a second? Second from Assemblywoman Torres. Any comments on the motion? Assemblywoman Hanson.
Thank you, Chair. I'm very conflicted. There's many provisions in the bill that I really like. I like the SOTs having a vote, the principal having a vote. We know the Supreme Court ruled in favor of the collective bargaining thing, so that's taken care of. I'm having trouble with the carryover funds. I'm a local control kind of gal. I think the funds, I think with a new SOT voting power, I feel like they would have oversight over those school funds. But even if they didn't and they got swept, I'm feeling more comfortable they went to a district rather than, being part of rural districts that had money swept. I just am kind of sensitive to that. So I'm a no. And in a lot of words, I'm a no.
Thank you. Any other comments? Assemblywoman Thomas.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, and thank you for this opportunity. And like my Assemblywoman Hanson, I know that, some of the language in the bill supports what she said, and I am a no also, so I'll just cut to the chase. I'm a super no.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. With that, all in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. And raise your hand. 1, 2. That would be Assemblywoman Hanson and Thomas. Motion does carry. And I will assign that non-existent floor statement to Assemblyman MacArthur. Next, we'll go to Senate Bill 291. Ms. Drozdoff.
Thank you, Chair. The next bill on work session is Senate Bill 291, which makes various changes relating to education. The committee also heard this measure yesterday. Senate Bill 291 removes the requirement that a student teacher must have completed at least 4 weeks of student teaching in the school district to qualify for employment as a substitute teacher. Additionally, the bill appropriates $1,575,000 to Nevada's Department of Education for the Nevada Institute on Teaching and Educator Preparation, and requires the institute to report to the Interim Finance Committee on each expenditure made from this money. No amendments were proposed for this measure. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, members. Are there any questions? Seeing none, I will entertain a motion to do pass. Vice Chair Taylor has made the motion. Assemblywoman Thomas has seconded the motion. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carries unanimously. And I will assign that floor statement to Assemblyman MacArthur. Finally, we have Senate Bill 71.
Thank you, Chair. The next bill on work session is Senate Bill 71, which revises provisions relating to the recruitment and retention of school staff. Senate Bill 71 revises the name and membership of the Nevada State Teacher Recruitment and Retention Advisory Task Force to include education support professionals. The bill requires the task force to be composed of 10 teacher representatives and 10 education support professional representatives to the extent practicable, and establishes member qualifications and appointment procedures. Finally, SB 71 expands the duties of the task force to include evaluating the challenges in attracting and retaining both teachers and education support professionals. No amendments were proposed for this measure. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Ms. Drozdov. Members, are there any questions on the bill we literally just heard? Seeing none, I would take a motion to do pass. Oh, she was kidding. Oh, my God. LaRue Hatch, do you have a question? Just teasing. I will take a motion to do pass. Vice Chair Taylor has made the motion. Assemblywoman Anderson has seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. Motion carries unanimously, and I will give that floor statement to Assemblyman MacArthur. All right. So that takes us to our final agenda item, which is public comment. Anyone here in Carson City wishing to make public comment? Anyone in Las Vegas hiding, wishing to make public comment? BPS, is there anyone on the phone lines wishing to make public comment?
Chair, there are no callers choosing to provide public comment at this time.
Okay, great. So we did get a bill referral, so we will be meeting same bat time, same bat station on that. For those of you guys who don't understand that because you're too young, we will be here on Thursday at 1:30 p.m. With that, we are adjourned.